This essay example, as well as thousands of others, is available in text format on our website for free and without registration. Simply Google Ivy Panda Free Essays.
Modernism, and modernization may be easily defined in the human mind. It means that one can understand what modernism, and modernization mean. However, when it comes to formulating the definition of the notions, people cannot cover those with words. Many different ideas are presented as the definitions of modernism, and modernization. However, they all may be criticized as they lack specification and realism. Thus, the main idea of this paper is to consider the definitions of modernism, and modernization from different angles, trying to find the most appropriate ones. Trying to differentiate between these three notions, it is possible to consider the following data. Modernity is defined as the typical feature of the time. Each epoch has its own characteristic features of modernity. Modernism is a cultural response of the time to artistic movements. Modernization is a social process that defines development, such as technological innovations, national states, democratization, secularization, etc. I agree with the idea that modernism is the project which covers progress and emancipation. Reading essays on Mexican art by Octavio, the vision of modernization during the 18th century was absolutely different from how we perceive modernization now. However, it was modernization. Max Weber said that modernity is the process of disenchantment of the world. I can't entirely agree with this statement. Max Weber assures humanity that the previous population is worse than the previous one, as from one century to another, the disenchantment of the world makes it worse and worse. Looking at modern times and comparing those with the previous ones, many advantages and disadvantages may be found. The world is changing, the time is passing. There are always people who cannot accept the changes, and they consider all the development as a step back. However, some people always look positively at the future and consider present times better than the previous ones. However, measuring modernism, and modernization as various notions is essential while arguing Max Weber's statement. Being a cultural response to the artistic movements, modernism cannot be perceived as a disappointment. It may need to be understood. Social processes are natural developments that may not disenchant the world. These processes also reflect human life and their vision of the modern world. Modernity cannot be the world's disenchantment, as it is the state of affairs. It just characterizes the state of affairs without being able to make any judgments. Therefore, it is possible to conclude that Max Weber's statement is inappropriate and cannot be agreed on. The issue of modernism and modernization is somewhat contestable, as there is no one specific definition of the issue, nor cultural, time, and space frames, which may be used as the basis for making a definition. Therefore, the differences in vision of modernism, and modernization are going to be present once there is a strict definition of these items. At the same time, it is impossible to define these notions, as modernism, and modernization are different during different periods of time, with various perceptions in the past and in the future. It is possible to understand modernism, and modernization only from one perspective, living at the present time and being able to judge one modernism movement. If you want to find more works like this definition essay on modernism, and modernization, head over to ivypanda.com. It has a collection of free samples with thousands of submissions covering virtually all academic subjects. No registration required to access it.